Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for clicking on this video. My name is David Pendleton, and this continues, my walkthrough for tour number 8, and we're going to be covering Eagle Peak Hole 6, which is kind of a longer par 5. Now, if you find this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel. I do tournament walkthroughs, and I do one-on-one tour play walkthrough. And take a half a second, if you find this video helpful, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to know any other Tour 8 holes, make sure you check out my channel. You can go to the playlist section, and you'll find a Tour 8 folder where you can find every single hole broken down, nice and neat. Now, on this particular hole, we're going to be playing both shots at 10% elevation. And just like any hole, there's a couple different ways you can go about attacking this. Now, the ways that I show it is how I play it. It's how I find it to be most consistent, trying to pick up the wind in regulation. So what we normally try to do, in most cases, if you get crosswind or tailwind, we're going to be looking to bounce from the first fairway over to the second fairway island. If we do get some headwind, in particular some strong headwind, we do need to lay up here on this first fairway. You kind of want to get to the top of the fairway would be the most ideal situation. Now, I just want everybody to know that even though this is a par 5, it is not a big deal if you need to lay up. You can still make it to the green in 2. The thing that you want to avoid is taking unnecessary gambles on this particular hole, because you don't want to try to go a full overpower shot just to make it to the second fairway and put yourself in the sand or put yourself in the rough, because then you are not getting to the green in 2, and that's going to expose you to lose the hole, okay? So let's go ahead and hop into a couple of replays here. I'll show you some full matches. So I wanted to start off with this one here. 4.2 miles per hour with a little bit of headwind and crosswind. Now with an extra 1.8 miles, okay, I can make it. If you want to know what type of clubs I started to play Tour 8 with, make sure you look at the description below and you click on my Tour 8 strategy video, and that's going to go into, also why I use navigators on Tour number 8. But for this particular sequence here, I can, with my club, make it, because I get 6 bars of topspin. If you have an extra mile, 6 or 7, you only get 4.5 bars of topspin. I could make this drive if I wanted to. I'm down to the second fairway, but for video purposes, I just wanted to show you what would happen if you lay up, because over the past couple weeks, the game was not giving me this hole with heavy headwind. So, as you can see here, I stretch out. I can make it, but I'm going to lay up here. Now, when you lay up, you do want to try to get the ball up as high on the fairway as possible to make the second shot to green a shorter distance. But the thing is, you have to be wary, and you really need to remember is you don't want to hit the ball so hard or use so much topspin that you end up rolling into that top rough, because that becomes a situation where you're not going to make it to the green in 2, and you're going to have to lay up and then try to chip in. So this is good enough here. We do leave ourselves quite a bit of room on the fairway, so we could have pushed it a little harder. But again, you don't want to take unnecessary risk. Now, here's my opponent's shot. Okay, no slouch. He has a Apocalypse 5. He's also using a Power 1 ball, a Quasar. So with his topspin, he's going to be able to make it too. But there's one thing that has to happen, in order for you to make this shot. And he's going full overpower. That's always dangerous. Sometimes you have to play this way. Okay. So the reason that he makes this is, you see he gets the first bounce. On this particular fairway, there is a spot up here that gives you a really strong second bounce, and it's kind of where this fairway starts to take that dip. It's kind of hard to tell, but if you hit that, you can roll out into the rough onto the fairway here. So as you can see here, he rolls very nicely up the fairway, no problem in making it. But the nice thing that you're going to see is, even though he hit the ball further, even though he got to that landing spot that he wanted to get to, and even though we're both only using a Power 1 ball, As you can see here with my sniper, I'm not even at max distance, and I'm getting headwind on top of that. So this is a situation to where I'm still able to pull my rings even in a headwind situation. I'm not even using a lot of overpower here. You can see I have a very consistent, easy needle speed. I hit the fairway, I clip the rough, and I roll out. Clipping the rough and rolling out is what you're looking for on this hole. If I would not have clipped the rough and rolled out, then I would have went further past the green and been looking for a long putt or a chip in with the wedge. And that's just one thing that you'll get used to on this hole too. So I just wanted to show you that sequence. I think it was a good one to show so that you can see a couple different ways to approach it. And you can see that laying up still gives you the ability to get down here in 2 shots and eagle the hole. Now here's another sequence. This opponent is using a Ninja ball. I don't even know the stats on this ball, but of course it's a ball you have to pay money to use. He hits a perfect shot in almost max overpower. And he executes a very nice drive. Now, I would never suggest that you use any type of paid ball in Tour 8. It is completely unnecessary, and you can save those for tournaments or a much higher tour, maybe Tour 11, Tour 12. And I talk more about that in my Tour 8 strategy video that's in the description below. But now you can see here that I'm just going to use a Power 1 ball. I don't even push up to max. I don't even have to go full overpower like our opponent there. And I'm also down here, pretty much in the middle of the fairway. Now, even though he got more yards than me, he's not going to have the advantage on this hole because, dropping an albatross is rare, right? You don't get that many of them. But I wanted to show you this replay here because when you get a far drive like our opponent did, you need to take advantage of that, and you need to be going for the rough bump. You can see here that he's going for a max backspin shot, which is fine. He's still going to make it down there. But what we should be doing, okay, and if you get a drive like that, what you should be doing is setting up somewhere right around here. But instead of using backspin like our opponent, you need to be using topspin. You need to be spinning yourself to the hole for a rough bump. That would set you up for the most ideal situation to drop this albatross and try to win the hole in regulation. But either way, he's on the green. We take our shot with our Power 1 ball. We're getting 9.2 mile per hour wind, so I left my tail a little bit short of the hole here. And then we roll out, and we're just chipping in for an easy eagle. So that covers a couple full replays. Now we'll go over some wind angles. Now keep in mind, 10% elevation on the drive. Looks like we're playing an opponent Terry here. I'm stretching out, making sure I can make it down there. You'll see me use a lot of overpower on this hole. I would rather use overpower than switch to a Titan or Kingmaker, which is going to have a lot more value of a ball in the game. And to be honest with you, the more shots you can take at overpower like this, then the better of a tournament player you're going to become, because you're going to be more used to taking overpower shots. But you can see here we get the double bounce and we roll into the fairway. Really for the most part, everybody, as long as you roll into this fairway here, you're making it down to the green, or at least into the green area, and making an easy chip in with your wedge. All right, so this is the second shot against Terry. Most of the times you're going to see me looking for a secondary rough bump on this hole. So what does that mean? It means that my target is on the fairway right here, but I'm looking to use the rough and roll down towards the pin. So I call that a secondary rough bump. I don't know what it's really supposed to be called, but this is how I refer to it if you hear me say that. So you see here that I touched down on the fairway like I wanted to, but I just missed clipping the rough. But that's okay, not a big deal. Even though I missed clipping the rough, I'm just a little bit beyond the pin, and obviously, you know, that's the easy putt for the eagle. Okay, so this time we get ourselves quite a bit more headwind. 8.5 miles per hour, we have to lay up, like I was talking about earlier. Now you see my opponent's icon here. They went for it, and they're in the rough or in the sand. I don't remember which one. You know, the thing that I would stress here is if your opponent messes up, then you need to take advantage of that. You do not need to take any unnecessary risk. Just lay up on any hole, okay, and just take the win. Like in this situation right here, as long as I land on the fairway and my opponent's in the sand, he's not making it to the green. So can he still tie me on the hole? Absolutely. He's able to lay up on the fairway and take a short iron shot towards the pin, but he's not putting, right? Like we will be. And that's a great situation to be on any hole in the game when you're putting in for a win. So this is more of the drive that we're looking for when we have to lay up. You know, we get nicely up here onto the top part of the fairway. And you see here now that we still have plenty of distance to get ourselves to the hole. So we have 10 mile per hour wind here. That's in our favor. Now, the most important thing you need to know about this hole is when you get this strong a wind and it's in tailwind and it's in your favor, you want to make sure that you don't go nuts at the overpower. Because if you miss clipping that rough there and rolling out to the green or pin, you can go way beyond the hole. Like this. But again, you know, that's not a big deal. That's an easy chip in for an eagle. So I guess the point of this sequence is to show you that even though we laid up here, so we didn't get, you know, a lot of distance on the drive, our second shot still put us way past the hole. So we're easily able to play this hole with a good strategy to set us up for the win. And you can see my opponent's icon up there is, you know, in the rough. So probably went for some type of max overpower shot and, you know, didn't make it where he wanted to be. And, you know, just in case you're curious on, you know, what these wedge shots look like if you go too far past the green, this is a very consistent green here. It has a nice smooth spot to land on. And as you can see, we get a nice roll and we're dead center and it's in the cup. That's pretty much every single time. All right, so now I'll show you a couple, I'll show you a tailwind shot. And I would notice my icon here. So notice how I'm at the bottom part of this fairway. So again, you know, not a ton of distance on the drive. And here we're getting almost 7 mile per hour direct headwind. You know, and really just showing the point, the point of just showing these is just to prepare you for any type of wind situation that you might get, and just to show you it's still possible to easily play this hole with a power 1 ball and get yourself where you want to be. Now, you can play with whatever ball you want to, whatever you're most comfortable with. The most important part is making sure that the game is fun. You know, obviously, if you're sitting here playing with some power 3 balls, you're going to have an easier time with these shots. The only thing that I would say is that doesn't mean that you're going to have an advantage on winning the hole. You know, because my accounts carry 80% winning percentages, you know, on the accounts that I grind. And I'm going up against, you know, power 3 balls and money balls all day. It's more important to know the strategy and how to become a better player. So again, you know, we're way down here on the fairway, not a lot of distance on the drive. You know, we're getting more headwind. It's not a lot of headwind. But it just goes to show that when you have the right approach, you can get close to dropping these shots. And that's pretty close to an albatross. Not an easy hole to albatross, but we're right there flirting with the hole. All right, so here we are up against Louise. And for video purposes, I did switch to a Titan. And we're getting 7 mile per hour headwind. And I'm using 6 bars of topspin, which is max. And, you know, I'm going for the home run shot here. So you can see here we're in a full overpower. We hit a perfect ball, so you can't ask for anything better than that. We got the double bounce, but the double bounce didn't happen as far down the fairway as we would like, and we get stuck in the rough. So this is really ultimately just a waste of a Titan when we should have just laid up, you know, like I talked about. But, you know, shot number 2 against this opponent. Well, I'm sorry, this is shot number 3. So because I was in the rough, I had to lay up here in the bottom part of the fairway. The thing that I would ever say on any hole is if you get into trouble like that, don't take unnecessary risks and go for some max overpower Nirvana shot to get yourself as far down as possible. The worst thing you could do is go from rough to rough. Just take the layup and make sure you land on the fairway. Because if you land on the fairway, at least you give yourself a chance, you know, with your short iron to save your hole. Like in this situation here. In this situation, my opponent is already putted in for the hole, so I have to make this to tie it. But I just want to show that, you know, if you get down here, this is what this shot looks like when you're trying to save your hole. And I play this shot at 10% elevation as well. So pretty much every single shot on this hole is played at 10%. You know, but we make it, and we save the hole for eagle, and then we move on to our shootout. So here's another situation where I had to lay up just because I probably had a bad drive. So bad drives happen to me just like they do with everybody else. Here we are back to our more familiar ball that we play with. In this situation here, you see the green is a little glitchy. So all you want to do to avoid that is just change your spin a little bit. You change your spin, find a new landing spot. There we go. Now we're even getting 6 mph direct headwind here for our short iron shot to try to save our eagle. Again, I played at 10% elevation. And we're able to stick that ball in the hole as well for the eagle. Here, we are way down on the fairway. As you can see, we barely rolled out of the rough. Same thing here. I'm just looking to clip that rough there at the end and roll out towards the pin. Clip the rough, roll out towards the pin. That's how I approach this hole. And then last here, I just wanted to show you that every once in a while, you are able to make it even with some headwind and a power 1 ball with an extra mile 8. So here we're getting about 7 mph headwind mixed with crosswind. Just for video purposes, I wanted to show that, you can go max overpower, which is dangerous. You do need to hit a perfect ball more times than not. But here we get that bounce on that part of the fairway that kicks you down like I was talking about. So there is a pretty heavy headwind crosswind situation to where we do make it down to the second part of the fairway. And then we take a look at that shot number 2. I know I spent a little bit more time than I normally do on these little tour play walkthroughs, but I do think this is an important hole just because I see a lot of opponents mess it up. I see a lot of opponents take unnecessary risk, especially in headwind, and they get stuck in the rough or they get stuck in the sand, and that's just easy slim pickings right there for a win. So I hope you found it helpful. I really do. Please subscribe, please hit the thumbs up button, and if you like the work and the amount of time that I put into my channel to help everybody out, you can make a donation to my PayPal, and you can always find that in the comment section of all of my videos. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Have a great day, everybody.